It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All the sports news you need every day in under 20 minutes. Follow Locked On today on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? We have a bonus episode of Locked On Cardinals today, as it is trade deadline edition. And the Cardinals, I guess, were buyers, one might say, at the trade deadline. I'm Lucas Smith, host of Locked On Cardinals podcast, joined today by Corey Miller of KSTK to kind of break down the two moves today. Corey, how you doing today?
I am all right. I'm glad we have something to talk about because for a while it looked like we were going to have nothing to talk about. But that might have been better, honestly, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for years, it seemed like the Cardinals have made no moves at the deadline. And this move, there's probably a pretty good argument out there to say that the Cardinals got worse by this move. For those who haven't seen it, John Lester and J.A. Happ are now Cardinals, as John Gant is a Minnesota Twin and Lane Thomas is a Washington National. What were your first impressions? We'll go one trade at a time. What were your first impressions of the J.A. Happ deal?
So I was driving home from golfing on my day off, and somebody texted me, "Oh, the Cardinals got J.A. Happ," and I go, "What?" And then I saw it was for John Gant and another prospect. And I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. It doesn't really matter what the Cardinals do. They're in enough of a hole that they're just kind of hoping that the Brewers tank or one of those wild card teams out west, which I don't think is going to happen at all. So you're banking on the Brewers tanking. So this whole leading up to the trade deadline, it was a tough spot. And I guess honestly, I don't even know what to say. This trade doesn't really make any sense at all because you trade essentially John Gant for a guy that was doing John Gant things, but is much older and doesn't have the controllability that John Gant had with his deal. So I'm confused. But at this point, you know what? Like I said, it doesn't really matter unless something happens in front of them. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it was one of those things. The Cardinals went into this deadline saying, okay, we're going to get arms. We're going to look for innings. They got innings, technically. And I was on Locked On MLB's YouTube live stream of the reaction. And I said, if this rotation was 3 or 4 years ago, this is an A-plus rotation if you've got Lester and J.A. Happ in the middle of it. I mean, Happ, give credit to where credit is due. Happ has had a very nice MLB career, former 20-game winner, had a nice season as close to 2018, but he's had a very bad 2021. He's had a very bad last couple of starts. That other prospect that you mentioned that's going in the deal is Evan Sisk. Cardinals also getting cash considerations for this deal. It's one of those things that, like you said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, doesn't seem to make this team a whole lot better. This doesn't put the Cardinals on the Brewers tier. And in my opinion, it doesn't even put the Cardinals on the Reds tier. And neither did the second move. Cardinals trading Lane Thomas and John Lester pretty much straight up for that deal one-on-one. That deal made no sense. I expected them to get one starter, but for them to get two makes kind of an odd fit. And John Lester just seems like an odd fit as well.
It's going to look really weird. I know that for sure. And it's going to be, I have no idea is there something we're not knowing about Flaherty and Michaelis? Are they not progressing to get back? Because when they get back, what are you going to put John Lester and J.A. Happ in the bullpen? That would be kind of weird too. Right. I thought they were done and they were just going to get Happ, and I was like, okay, whatever. I guess that's something, and it's kind of funny. But then it trickles in. John Lester's going to be a Cardinal, and just what? I mean, it's going to be fascinating how they deploy this. And Lane Thomas going the other way, which I think is good for him. I think he should be applauding this. I think he needed a fresh start. It wasn't that long ago when a lot of people, including myself, thought Lane Thomas was going to supersede Harrison Bader as the starting center fielder. And then he just, last year with COVID, and he just fell off a cliff and was never the same guy. So I think it's good for him, and I don't think they were really figuring Lane Thomas in the future plans that much. So it's kind of a whatever, I think. But we've seen it happen before. The Cardinals trade away an outfielder they've given up on, and he becomes a stud. So we could see him getting burned for this. That would people would be talking about this for a long time then.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really everybody in Washington and Chicago got a fresh start today as they were making deals pretty much the last 48 hours. The Cubs, quote unquote, dynasty from 2016 is no longer, and the championship team from Washington is also no longer. But you mentioned going forward when Michaelis and Flaherty get back. Miles Michaelis blew through his expected pitch count in his most recent rehab start. Flaherty's got another one coming up. So it seems to me that they're only going to have one rotation spot. You'd have to think this puts the block back in the bullpen.
Yeah, I would think that's a reasonable assumption. And although it would be a lot of fun if they just go all in. You know what? We're putting 4 lefties and Adam Wainwright somehow. We're going to patch it together with that. And all 4 of our guys are 36 years old or older. I'm making a joke. The Cardinals really cornered the old lefty market between LeBlanc, Lester, and Happ. I mean, I guess Jamie Moyer wasn't available, but they're going to have more options at least. It looks that way. I wouldn't call them good options, but at least options. And where they've been and just needing innings, I guess that's a positive if you want to look at it that way.
I'm really interested to see how this is spun by the Cardinals and by other Cardinal media members who think that these are good moves. But I just really think that this move doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Neither one of these moves do, like we talked about. But one other aspect before I get into kind of wrapping this up, because this is going to be a shorter episode, just kind of a reaction. I should have said that at the top. But there's also, in my opinion, I saw some of this floating around on Twitter. This gives Oviedo and Woodford the opportunity to be at the minor league level for good and just be there and develop. And I think, like, if you're going to find a positive in this deal, that's going to be one of them.
I think that's especially Oviedo because, I mean, he's going to be a really good major league pitcher, I think. And he's just had a tough situation, and keeping him up here and having him go through the trials and tribulations he's had to isn't really helping anybody. So yeah, get him in AAA, get him on a regular schedule and have him progress like he's supposed to be doing instead of thrust into major league action when he probably wasn't ready for it yet.
Yeah, real quick, before we continue, I do want to tell everybody about Built Bar. It is the best tasting protein bar on the market. If you haven't tried one of these, you need to get yourself down to built.com for a flavor. Go to get yourself a mix box where you get 2 of each of the 9 flavors: coconut, almond, cherry, raspberry, double chocolate, and so much more. They've got something for everybody. All these flavors have 17 to 18 grams of protein, 130 to 180 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs. These things are like having a candy bar as a protein bar. And you can order today at built.com and you get yourself a discount. Locked15 to get 15% off your order at built.com. Once again, that's promo code Locked15 to get 15% off your order at built.com. One more thing before we finish up with Corey. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can check all the action at Bet Online. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including Major League Baseball, the Olympics, golf, UFC, MMA action. So before the next pitch, head over to Bet Online on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. So don't sit on the sidelines anymore as teams, maybe not the Cardinals, but teams are prepping for their runs to the playoffs. So head to the website, betonline.ag. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, so moving forward, regardless of how we feel about this trade, here's my best case scenario. Best case scenario is change of scenery. Lester and Happ give you what they've got for the rest of their career. They give you somewhat mediocre starts, and they give you chances to win. They turn back the clock a little bit. Maybe Adam Wainwright can have conversations about how to revitalize their career and pitch as old veterans. But I just think that's way out there as terms of best case scenario. Do you have a best case scenario, or do you see this not even having a best case scenario?
I think that's the ceiling. I think the best they can hope for is these guys come in and give you at least 5 innings to start, hopefully more than that, so you can get to your guys your few guys that you can trust at the end of a game. I think that's the best case scenario. Just 5 or 6 innings in their starts, keep it within a realm of possibility, and hope the offense can spark and Arenado and Goldschmidt can get going at the same time, which has still not exactly happened as we've wanted it to yet, even though Mike Schill has said coming soon to a ballpark near you. It hasn't arrived yet. So if they can just keep it close and make it through 5 or 6 innings and take some heat off the guys at the back of the bullpen and the rest of the rotation, I guess that's the best case scenario. But like I said, the Cardinals right now, it doesn't really matter how well they do. They are in the position where they got to root for some other teams to do bad, and they are going to have a chance to steal a lot of games against the Brewers because there are a lot of those games coming up. But we're trying to spin this any way we can make something positive when, if you want to put it bluntly, there's not a whole lot to be positive about.
No, not at all. That's why I wish that even if they were to make moves, I wish the moves would have included some plan for 2022. And neither one of these moves do that. Even I don't think they should have traded for Trevor Story, but at least then you have an opportunity to show him and maybe sign him to extension. But nevertheless, these moves don't make the Cardinals any younger. I mean, KK Kim has the possibility of being the youngest man in the starting rotation until Flaherty gets back at the ripe age of 33 years old. So this is not a young rotation. This is hopefully it's a good rotation. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. And at the end of the day, the players got to play, and maybe the results will be a little bit different than we think. But Corey, I appreciate you coming on. One question, just off the top of your head, biggest winner of the trade deadline.
Oh man, well, the Yankees are going for it, but the Yankees are in not quite as bad as the position of the Cardinals, but kind of a similar position where they better do something fast to get back there, and they didn't get any pitching. So I guess they think they're just gonna out hit guys, win 10-11 or 10-9 every game or something. Let me think. The Mets, I think, did well. They got a good Rich Hill deal earlier also.
I think the Dodgers are the clear winner with the Scherzer Turner deal. I
totally forgot about them even. Yeah, the Dodgers. Listen, I'm so sick of the Dodgers, man.
Right?
What in the world? It's just not fair. That team is totally stacked. Albert's not even going to get any playing time now,
I know.
which bums me out. I will say this. I think the Cubs, although it's kind of disgusting what they did and how cheap they're being and tearing their team down. They got, it looks like, some decent returns in terms of
absolutely.
For sure from the White Sox. The guy they got from the Mets is a pretty good prospect as well. So I think the Cubs did all right in terms of cutting the ship down to nothing and what they could salvage in return. So I think Cubs fans, it's a rough day for everybody up there. Sad insult to injury. They lose everybody. Now they got to watch John Lester in a Cardinals jersey. But it might be okay with some of the guys they get back. But yes, you're right. The Dodgers are the clear winner of the trade deadline.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell with some of these trades on who's the winner and loser. But I think there's nobody doubting what the Dodgers got in Scherzer and Turner. So once again, be sure to tune back on Monday for a Twin Series recap on Locked On Cardinals, and maybe Lester or Happ will get to start this weekend, and we can talk about how dominating they were and talk about their 7 innings of 14 strikeouts. Who knows? Nevertheless, once again, Corey, thanks a lot. And until I talk to you guys next time, be sure to stay safe, stay well, and have a fantastic day.
This episode is brought to you by Spotify Green Room. Have you ever listened to a podcast like this one and you wanted to bring up your own point or just chat with other people that are listening at the same time? Well, let me tell you about Spotify Green Room. This is the first social audio platform made just for sports fans. The app is free to download, and once you're in, you can talk with us, other fans, athletes, insiders in real time about your favorite sport or team. Download the app, currently available on iOS devices. Create a profile, link your Twitter, join one of the groups for the latest league updates, and then you'll see us there. Spotify Green Room, changing the way we talk sports.